Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Second Counts podcast. Today we are joined by Izzy, who is a newly qualified nurse. I'll hand over to Izzy now to let her introduce herself a bit better. So, welcome to the podcast, Izzy, and feel free.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm a newly qualified adult nurse. I'm working in London in haematology, oncology. Um, yeah, that's all
Perfect.
really.
So, Izzy, what actually got you into nursing? So, why did you choose nurse as a profession?
Um, I always get asked this question, which I actually find really difficult to answer because I don't think there was any one thing that got me specifically into nursing. Um, I've always had a really caring family background. My mum works in care. My dad's a firefighter. Um, so I think I've just always grown up in that sort of area. Um, I actually remember sitting down one day, like, I think I must have been in year 12, maybe year 13, and I just turned around to my mum and I was like, I think I want to be a nurse, literally out of nowhere. Um, I wasn't even on the right path to being a nurse. My A levels were English, business, and photography. So I had no idea I really wanted to do it until I just decided one day. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think I always just had something in me that made me want to be a nurse, and obviously it came out.
So, you're quite late then. So, a lot of people, they will decide this quite young that they want to be a nurse. Like, you've got kids running around saying they want to be a nurse, but you were quite old. So, you were, say that you're in year 12. So what did you do A level wise? Did you complete your A levels and go straight to university, or did you? So you were able to do with the A levels you got? Oh,
So I
perfect.
just looked into courses that didn't require a science A level, and I ended up going to UEA in Norwich, which was a great university. I really enjoyed my time there. Um, and yeah, they didn't need science, and I learned so much about science there anyway. And yeah, it was fine.
Good. So the university was good. So they accepted your A levels. They didn't. So you said you did a lot of science while you're in university. So mostly anatomy. Then I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Um. So you're an oncology nurse and a hematology nurse. So what
Mhm.
typically happens on a day-to-day shift? So any memorable moments, or how would you find a shift goes usually for yourself? Is it quite fast paced? Is it quite slow pace? I've worked on
Mhm.
some wards myself where they've been really slow. So I'm a student paramedic by trade. I've done medical for years, um, and I've done a lot of ward work, and I've found wards very slow paced for myself. But how do you find your ward?
I think it would depend who you're asking, honestly. So I personally find it quite busy. Um, where I am, I rotate in my role. So I've worked on three different wards so far. My first one was a lot slower than the one I'm on now, and each time I found it's been a step up. Um, and so on a day-to-day basis, you start off like it's quite slow in the morning, and then I think as it hits like 2 o'clock, everyone's doing their IVs, meds, everything. It sort of gets a little bit crazy. Um, if everything goes to plan, it's usually quite a nice day, but I think often, as we know in nursing, that's not really the
Yeah.
case. Um, but on a day-to-day basis, I'd say it's mostly drug rounds. So I'll start off the morning doing any medications. Lots of the time, the night teams will do the morning meds for us, which is really nice.
Oh, that's really nice.
Um, and then I just go in, introduce myself, do the obs, do my any assessments, any questions patients have to ask. Um, yeah, then usually I'll start writing my notes because I like to get them done early because I don't know when I'm going to get the next chance to do it. Hopefully at that point I'll be able to get a break, a little tea break, but
Sometimes doesn't happen.
yeah, sometimes doesn't happen. Come back from that. It's then usually like lunchtime meds. Any the doctors have usually seen them at this point, so anything that they want, we get on with, like fluids, different types of cultures, bloods, whatever. New cannulas putting in, pick dressings. We'll do all of that like in the bulk of the day, and then 2 p.m. meds. we'll do like all our IVs at 2 o'clock pretty much. Um,
What
yeah,
typical IVs are you providing, if you don't mind me asking? So,
so lots and lots of antibiotics.
right,
So
okay.
um, in oncology, especially haematology oncology, people are really prone to infection. So
Mm.
as soon as someone spikes the temperature, we're on that, taking blood cultures, doing the sepsis sticks, getting antibiotics straight in. Um,
So
yeah,
what are the patients coming in? Are the patients brought through A&E, or are they coming in off their own to the ward straight from home?
so
How is...
it depends. We usually get TCIs, which are to come in. So lots of
Mm.
people come in for their chemo. So we do a lot of chemo on the ward as well.
Oh, is it like a day
Uh,
clinic for them?
no,
Right,
no,
okay.
just
Oh,
the
no.
ward.
Right,
But
okay.
they come in, they'll do their chemo, they'll start a cycle, and then obviously because they're so immunocompromised, they shouldn't really be out with public, which is why we keep them in.
Right, okay.
Um, so we'll have those come in, and then we also get like transfers from other wards. So it just depends. But we don't tend to get anyone from A&E. It's not really
Okay. So
sort of
everyone's
thing.
either an inpatient already, or they've come in because they've been asked to come in from the
Yeah.
community. Okay. So
So
what kind of cancers do you see? Or is it quite a broad spectrum, or is there one that's more common than the
so
other?
on my first ward, it was medical oncology. So it was lots of like breast, pancreatic, liver, um, stuff like that, solid tumours. And now where I am on heme, it's mostly like lymphoma, myeloma, leukemia, um, yeah, different varieties of those. Um, and there's quite a big difference in that with the blood cancers, when they get ill really quick.
Mm.
So it's a rapid like deterioration, and I think that's why it's so much quicker on the heme wards rather than the medical wards. So
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
assuming as well it does quite a big turnover of patients as well with that kind of...
um, sometimes. So
Yeah,
some patients are in and out. Um, obviously we do lose some as well, which is very
yeah,
sad.
it is.
But um, for the most part, I feel like I know my patients quite well because we see them come in for different cycles. So they'll have their cycle one of chemo, go home, and then a few months later they'll come back for cycle two. So
Okay.
it's quite
So you
nice.
see
We
the
get to
same
know them.
patient quite often then. So you get to
Yeah,
know that. That's really nice. How many
yeah.
patients are on the ward? How many beds does your ward offer?
So on my ward we have 23 beds.
Okay.
Most of them are side rooms. I think we have 4 bays with 2 beds in.
Hmm.
So
Only two beds
yeah,
in the bays?
yeah, because they're so like immuno.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
That
we
makes
try and keep
sense.
them separate.
Oh, right, okay. So how many nurses is the ward got to? So how many nurses to patients?
So it's usually four patients to a nurse in the day, and then
Okay.
5 or 6 at night,
And then you
depending
got
on
the
if we're
healthcare
fully
as well.
staffed.
Do you have healthcare on the ward?
Yeah, we have two healthcare assistants
Oh, cool. Okay. So,
for the whole ward.
going on from that, if you had to talk about a memorable moment from either as a student or as a newly qualified nurse, what would that memorable moment be? And
Oh, it's so difficult to pinpoint one because I think when you're working in this job, there's a million memorable moments. But most recently, I think, I don't know, it's been the amount of, I can't find the right word, maybe support I've got from patients and families. So recently, I had a patient sadly pass away, but his family actually came in. They brought me like hair clips and some earrings, and it was really really cute. And they were just like, "Thank you for helping, basically, and being so supportive." And I don't think I've ever had anything like that before, and never felt so appreciated by a patient. And I think that's something you do get a lot in oncology. Most people are really, really appreciative of you, and it's really nice.
I can imagine because sometimes, because I've worked on wards and it's not, the support's
Yeah,
not there and you get quite, the patients aren't very nice, but I can imagine your ward
yeah.
being quite a
I think
supportive
that's
and
why
nice
I
ward.
chose it as well. Like
Yeah.
when I was a student, it was really nice compared to a lot of the other wards I was on as a student,
So
where
did you know
people,
as a student that you wanted to go into this field of
I
nursing,
did
or
after my placement.
did you do a placement there and that was
Yeah,
okay?
well, I did a placement in an oncology setting. I spent a few days with like CNSs. I saw the day
Hmm.
clinic. I saw all the options you have working in oncology and different places you can go. It's not just a ward. And yeah, I just really liked it. I liked how they care for patients. I liked the relationships that you build. So yeah,
Was it the same hospital as a student that you're in now? So as a student,
no.
did you?
So
Oh, okay. So it was a
it,
different.
yeah, I took a big move. So I was living in Norwich um, as a student, and I did all my placements up there. And then I moved down to London, newly qualified. So brand new
Wow, that
city.
big step.
Um, yeah, brand new hospitals, all new systems. So it was very overwhelming. But I feel
How
like
did you
I've
find
got
that
there
with
now.
coming from, was the hospital in Northwich quite a small hospital or was it quite a big hospital?
It's quite big, but I would say it's very different to the London
I was
hospitals.
going to say,
Like,
how did you find that transition from like that setting to like, look, because obviously London is quite busy, it's fast paced. How did
yeah.
you find the move? Was you supported well with the hospital when you went to London? Was there a lot of
Um,
education teams supporting you with the
yes, the
transition?
education team. Yeah, the education team is great in London, but the one in Norfolk when I was a student was top notch. Like, I can't fault them at all. They were great, but I don't know if that's because of the jump from a student to qualified nurse. Like, I feel like you get a little bit more support as a student because obviously you're not accountable.
Yeah.
You're still learning things.
So how did
Um,
you find that transition from, because obviously you're newly qualified and there's a lot of nurses who have just newly qualified recently. How did you find that jump to finishing and being, that's it now, you are on your own, not on your own, but you are the decision
yeah.
maker now, you have to step up. How did you find that transition?
Oh, it was actually really scary. I found it really difficult to start with, honestly.
I can imagine.
Um, I remember like lying in bed after a shift being like, did I do everything? Did I sign everything?
Was you
Like,
just second guessing everything, I'm assuming?
yeah, literally everything. And then I come in the next day and be like, have I done that? Have I done that? Just checking over everything. And I don't think it ever fully goes away. You still always
No, of
have,
course.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm dealing with it better now. And yeah, a year on, I'm
So
happy
was
with
you
where I'm at.
assigned like a mentor as a newly qualified? So you came to the board day one. Was you given a nurse to actually like see over you, basically, or was you
We're
just
given,
left? Because I've been
we're
told stories
given,
by nurses where they come in first day and it's been right, you're on your own.
yeah. So I had a 2 week supernumerary period, which was nice. I think that's what everyone gets at minimum.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone needs as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. And I I had a preceptor because I was on the preceptorship, which yeah, most people do. And yeah, that was nice to have. But because I'm on rotation, every time I'd move, I'd be away from that preceptor, so I didn't really have anyone looking over me. And then every time I move, I felt like I'm starting fresh again. Like I don't know the
Hmm.
ward, I don't know where anything is, I don't know the staff. So it was
So how does the rotation
basically
work? Do you just get put on
so
any ward?
no, so we have a like a floor rotation
Okay.
and across the floor we have four different wards in oncology. So two of them are medical oncology and two of them are heme oncology. So I've done my first medical oncology and I'm on my second heme and I've still got one medical oncology to go, which I start in October.
So
So
out of the three, which one would you like to go back to after you've finished? is that an option you have, or do you have to keep swapping around? Or
Yeah,
do you have,
yeah. So once I finish, I can pick which ward I want to stay on. But at the moment, I'm a bit torn between the two different heme ones because, yeah, they're both great, but I don't know. Yeah,
does
I'm
one
gonna
offer
see.
one better things than the other?
I think a lot of my friends are on one, and
Right. Okay.
but then the team on the other is really, really good, and yeah, it's tricky.
So as a student as well, what kind of placements as a student did you do? Did you do anything? So you've chose hematology and oncology. Which, if you couldn't do that, what other specialized would you choose? Which other kind of ward would you go to if you look back as a student and what placements you did? Is there anything that if you couldn't get the one you're at now, that you would have chose?
So for my placements, I did respiratory slash OPM. It was right in COVID, so
Ooh,
it was
how did you
literally my
find that?
first ward was a COVID ward, and it was intense. I think it was the hardest placement I've ever had.
I can imagine as a student as well. That's very, very scary as well. And
Yeah. And it was my first experience in a hospital ever, so I was very nearly
oh
put off,
wow.
but I'm glad that I stuck it through.
So was you a first? I'm assuming it was first year when this. Ooh,
Yeah, first year, first placement. It was 9 weeks, I think, and yeah, we were
was it
wearing the proper
full? I was going
masks
to say
and
full respirator.
yeah,
Wow. And you had no so you've had no sort of like medical background before being a student. So you've been, wow, you've been
no,
thrown at the deep end.
yeah,
So
it was intense.
you were on the respiratory ward. So is that one that you would have chose, or was you not really?
Um, I think my experience as a student would have put me off, but
Okay.
I don't know. I would never say never. Like I did enjoy what I learned there. I learned so much because it was my first ward, and the
Hmm.
team was great. But I don't know. I think it was a bit intense to start.
I was
So
going to say that is like thrown at the deep end, baptism by fire.
yeah.
So what other placements did you do as a student
So
that you've
I
enjoyed
also
or not
had
enjoyed?
I had my community, and I also had dermatology, which I really loved. I think they're both settings that aren't in a hospital that are really, really nice. So whilst I was in community, I felt like I had so much more freedom. Um, Obviously, I was a student, so I was with another nurse, but it felt more like you got to make your own decisions, and it was nice to be able to manage your own time and drive around. And I was doing it in like the peak of summer. I think we had a heat wave, so it was really nice to get like the
Yes,
sun
that's very
and
nice. That's one of the
driving
reasons
around.
I chose paramedicine because I can't do hospitals.
Yeah.
Um, no, I can imagine that being really nice. So, would you ever
Mm.
consider going to community? Because
I think,
there's
yeah,
cancer nurses in the community. Would you ever choose to do something like that?
I think I would, but at the moment where I live in London, I don't know that I would want to do it here. Um,
Hmm.
Especially because I don't know, safety in London is a little bit different to how it was in Norfolk. I
Yeah. Are
don't know
you
if
quite
I'll cut
central London?
for. Yeah, very
You're
central.
quite built up as well. It's not. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I can
And then
imagine.
driving around, and I don't know if I'd love it as much as I did back in
Hmm.
Norfolk.
And are you set in London now, or would you ever move back to Northwich, or
I don't think I'd ever move back up there, but I don't think I'd be in London forever. So
so you're not set on in London forever? Okay, fair
no.
enough. Where
But
where have you got your eyes set? Would you
my
ever
family,
emigrate to Australia? Because a lot of nurses are going to
well,
Australia now.
um, I wouldn't say no. I think I would like to. I definitely want to travel to Australia within the next 2 or 3 years.
For
Maybe
work
work
or pleasure?
on. Sorry,
For work or pleasure?
bit of both.
Bit of both, fair enough.
Yeah,
That's very nice.
but yeah. I don't know. I think I'd also possibly move back home nearer my family. They're in Watford, but like a more countryside bit, which is quite
Hmm.
nice. So
Community in the country would be nice.
yeah, exactly.
It's definitely something you could consider. Really nice. So, finishing off. with our last question. As a student, how did you find the process of becoming a nurse, and how would you, if there's anything you could change? You said before that your university was really good, but was there anything that you would change with the learning aspect of placement? Not necessarily university, but the placement. How would you run it for all the up and coming student nurses listening? Or is there any
There,
advice you'd like to give student nurses who are starting in the next couple of weeks? What was the what one thing would you say is paramount to keep in the back of your head as a student nurse starting?
I think you really need to keep in your head why you're doing it and
Hmm.
why you want to go through with this because it is an intense course. It's a really tricky course. You see a lot of stuff, and just keep in your mind like why you've chosen this, and because there's really hard times, but I think it's worth it. And yeah, if you've got it built
Would you
into you, then
would you sorry,
yeah, if
would
you've
you
got it built
emphasize
in,
as well that if support's needed to seek it out as soon as possible because a lot of nurses, especially student nurses, they do, like you said just then, they see a lot of things. They're only young. You could be fresh 18-year-old, finish their
yeah,
levels.
I was.
I was going to say yourself, you went straight to a COVID ward. I can't imagine what was seen as an 18-year-old. So would you say seek help quite quickly if needed?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually did struggle a little bit at university.
Okay.
I always reached, so we had personal advisors and that just followed us through our entire university. Mine was amazing. I always reached out to her when I was struggling. A lot of the time it was on placement. And I myself suffer with quite a lot of health anxiety, like especially when I was a student. And I think it's really
Yeah,
common for healthcare
it is.
professionals.
It's very common.
So I would always reach out, and I just had like talking therapies and I talked it through. Um, and it never fully goes away, but I think talking really does help, and speaking with
No,
family,
definitely.
hobbies, making sure you find time
Hobbies
for
is the
yourself.
main one. Hobbies is really
Definitely.
important, especially 12-hour shifts, unpaid as a student. You finish your shift, you've got
Yeah.
essays. You need that break away from everything. No, I totally
Yeah,
agree with that. Did
yeah,
you find that
downtime.
anything helped you?
I did some sport, so I joined a few sports teams. I went to the gym. We had a great gym over there, so even if I just hopped on the treadmill and put on Love Island or something, at least it got me out, moving, doing something for
Yeah, it's
myself.
something. Yeah, of course, definitely.
Exactly. And then I did like crocheting, baking. Yeah, just stuff for myself,
Yeah,
basically.
just not medical or uni work because
Yeah, exactly. Even I can't, I know it sounds silly, but I can't even watch like Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that anymore because it makes me think of work
exactly.
too much.
No, definitely, I agree with you completely with that. It is,
So,
especially when you see something that's completely wrong, or you're like, that's
yeah,
not how it
that's
is.
not right.
It's just, it's funny, but then it's also like, oh God, I thought people actually think medical
Yeah,
life is like. It's just nothing like that. Yeah, or
yeah,
like
it's not
IVs put
right.
in the wrong way, or C collars on the wrong way round, and you're like, oh God, what you doing?
Oh, yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you, Izzy. We're coming up to the end of the podcast now. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you would like to say, or where people can find your page or Instagram page? Please feel
Um,
free.
so yeah, I have my Instagram. It's nursing with Izzy. I'm the exact same on TikTok. I'm a little bit smaller on TikTok, because I'm
Okay.
trying to get into it. But yeah,
Well,
um,
keep trying. It's something,
yeah.
and it's a hobby, so keep at it. I'm sure it'll get there. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Izzy. Like I said, it's been great speaking to you. Hope everything goes well. Hope your nursing career carries on being a success, and thank you so much for coming on. Okay.
Great. Thank you.